Let's talk about something that's becoming more and more confusing in today's dating world: communication during courtship. It used to be more clear what people wanted from a date, whether it was romance, a relationship, or physical intimacy. But today there's a growing gap between intention and interpretation, and a lot of people, especially men, are paying the price for it. One of the biggest issues in modern dating is unclear signals. As a woman, if you're on a date and you're open to intimacy, it's important to understand how to communicate that in a way that doesn't leave room for dangerous misunderstandings. Flirting, prolonged eye contact, and leaning in closer are all subtle signs. But when it comes to crossing into private spaces, like a man's apartment, the signal becomes a lot more serious. Here's the reality. In Western dating culture, when a man invites a woman to his place after a date, especially at night, that invitation is often understood as a socially acceptable way of asking for sex. If the woman says yes and accepts the invitation, that is often taken as a sign of openness to intimacy. But if she never had any intention of being physical in the first place, then accepting the invite becomes deeply misleading. This is where things get dangerous. Imagine a man has dated a lot in his city. He's noticed a pattern. Many women like a bit of roughness, intensity, dominance, so he assumes that's the norm. He invites a woman over, she agrees, things escalate, and he brings that same energy. But this time, the woman pushes back hard and reacts negatively. In some situations, it escalates further. Police reports, accusations, reputational damage. All due to poor communication, and culture never taught them to have that necessary form of signaling. So how can a man protect himself in this situation? First, if your style leans toward rough or dominant sex, avoid older women unless you're absolutely sure they're into that. In many cases, they're more resistant to that type of experience, and they're also more likely to speak up or take legal action if things go south. Anyone over 30, really. Second, if a woman gives sudden or strong resistance, step back immediately and say something like, "I apologize. I thought you were into that. I don't want you to do anything you're not comfortable with." That sentence alone can make all the difference, not just ethically, but legally. It shows awareness, respect, and gives her space to clarify her feelings without pressure. Now let's flip it. Sometimes a woman comes over not for intimacy, but for validation. She wants the man's attention, maybe his compliments. Maybe she even gets off on the fact that a guy makes a move on her, yet she turns him down. This kind of behavior is more common than people like to admit. And in many cases, these women expect the man to pay for the date, not because they can't afford it, but because they're going on 2 or 3 dates a week. If they had to pay even half the time, that would get expensive fast, so they default to the old model. He's the man, he pays. If a man senses that the woman has no intention of being physical and is just extending the night for attention, he should feel totally empowered to cut the night short with a respectful, "It was nice to meet you, get home safe." He's not obligated to continue feeding a one-sided dynamic. Now let's take a global look. Different cultures have different ways of signaling romantic or sexual openness. In Japan, for example, it's not common to have open discussions about intimacy, but there are subtle signs. One of them being when a woman places her hand on a man's lap during a date. In that culture, that's considered a discreet but clear signal that she's open to being physically intimate. In parts of Brazil, open flirtation and physical closeness are very normal and culturally accepted even early on, but they don't always indicate a green light for sex. Context still matters. In France, once you kiss someone, it's often assumed that intimacy is naturally going to follow. But even in cultures with clear signals, the burden is still on both parties to be clear and direct. Not just on the man to guess everything the girl wants, yet behave like a super masculine leader and avoid possible legal conflict at the same time. The bottom line is this. Many women go on dates with no intention of physical intimacy at all. They go for the entertainment, for the attention, or even to test their desirability. Knowing that men wouldn't be okay with this, it makes it inherently wrong. It becomes a scam. And when it's paired with mixed signals like accepting a late-night invitation to a guy's place, it becomes problematic. It creates the illusion of shared intention where there is none. If you're a woman and you don't want things to go in that direction, just don't go over. Be clear. If you're a man, learn to read patterns and behavioral cues, and if needed, end the night early. That's not rejection, that's self-respect. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos. Until next time.